She said I was boring, in front of a room full of people, while wearing the ring I put on her finger. And she laughed. So I left. Not that night, not with a fight, not with screaming or broken plates or dramatic speeches. I just quietly stood up from the table she had set for herself and walked out. And by the time she realized what had happened, her access to my house was gone, her bank account was empty, her credit card was frozen, and 42 boxes of her belongings were stacked in my garage waiting for a moving truck. She thought she was the main character. She was wrong. My name is Tom, and this is the story of the most peaceful decision I have ever made in my life. Let me give you the setup. Olivia and I were married for 4 years. From the outside, it probably looked fine. Good house, nice cars, a life that photographs well. But underneath that surface, the foundation had been crumbling for over a year, and the crack had a name. Ben. Ben was her male best friend, her quote-unquote brother. For the first stretch of our marriage, I did everything a trusting husband is supposed to do. I told myself their history was just history. I told myself I wasn't the jealous type. I told myself I was being mature and secure. What I was actually being was blind, because at some point in the last year, something shifted in Olivia. Her entitlement grew, her respect for me shrank, and Ben stopped being a background character in our marriage and became the leading man she measured me against in every single conversation. The moment I knew I needed to start building an exit was 8 months before the wedding. I had spent weeks planning a quiet anniversary trip, a cabin in the mountains, peaceful, the kind of place we used to love. When I showed her the pictures, she was underwhelmed. The next day, she came to me with a different plan. Ben thinks we should go to that new coastal resort instead. It wasn't a suggestion, it was a verdict she had already reached with another man. My plans were irrelevant. We went to the resort. I spent 4 days watching her text Ben photos of the view.
That was the moment I stopped lying to myself. I wasn't her husband. I was her infrastructure. The stable, boring system running quietly in the background while she lived the exciting version of her life with someone else. So I stopped being a doormat. I just did it quietly, because that's who I am. I'm not a screamer. I'm a planner. First call was to a lawyer. 90-minute consultation just to understand my position. The house was in my name, bought and paid for before I ever met her. That was the most important thing he confirmed. He walked me through protecting everything else. The next day, I opened new accounts at a different bank entirely and began quietly rerouting my income there. I left just enough in our joint account to keep appearances normal. I was building an escape route, brick by brick, with no deadline in mind. I just knew I was going to need it eventually. Then came the wedding. It was for a friend of hers from college. Huge, expensive, the kind of event Olivia lives for because it comes with an audience. She had bought a new dress for the occasion, a pricey one she mentioned very casually while putting it on our joint card. She spent the entire night attached to Ben, dancing, laughing loudly, making their little world very visible to everyone around them. She ignored me completely, and I let her. I wasn't there to compete for her attention. I was there to observe. Around 10 o'clock, I was near the bar talking to the groom's uncle. Olivia was across the room with Ben and a group of people I didn't know. I saw a woman point at Olivia's ring and ask if she and Ben were together. What happened next lasted maybe 30 seconds, but it ended 4 years of marriage. Olivia laughed, that high-pitched performed laugh she uses when she wants to seem charming. She said, "Oh no, I'm married, but not to Ben, unfortunately." Then she leaned in like she was sharing a secret and said, "Not really anyway. It doesn't count when he's boring." The group laughed. I stood 20 feet away and watched her make me the punchline of her social performance with a room full of strangers. And I felt nothing. No rage, no explosion, just a single quiet click of certainty, the sound of a decision finalizing itself. I caught her eye across the room. I gave her a small nod. She probably thought it meant I hadn't heard. It meant I had heard everything, and I was done. I turned around, walked out of the ballroom, and went up to the hotel room. The moment I walked in, I took off my wedding ring, set it on the dresser, looked at it for a moment. It felt like taking off a costume I had been wearing too long. Then, I packed my bag. Every movement was calm and deliberate. I had mentally rehearsed this procedure for months. I was simply executing it now. I checked out of the hotel, drove home in silence. No music, just 40 minutes of the most peaceful quiet I had felt in over a year. The low-grade weight of pretending, of absorbing daily disrespect while keeping my face neutral, was already lifting. I got home at 11:30. My house. That detail mattered.
First thing I did was go to the smart home panel in the kitchen. Found her profile and the user settings. 2 clicks. Deleted. Her access code gone. Her key fob deactivated. I went to the garage and manually changed the entry code. In 5 minutes, she was a stranger to my home. Then I opened our joint bank account and transferred every penny to my personal account. Logged into the credit card portal and reported her supplementary card stolen, frozen instantly. I scrolled through the recent charges while I was there. The dress for the wedding, a spa day with Ben's sister, a set of new luggage for a girls' trip she had been planning. All of it gone with 1 click. Then I went to the garage, grabbed the flat-packed moving boxes I had bought weeks earlier specifically for this moment, and spent the next 3 hours going through the house. Her walk-in closet, her bathroom vanity, her home office, every piece of clothing, every shoe, every bottle of expensive product. I sealed each box with tape and stacked them neatly. 42 boxes total. The house became quieter with every one. At 3 in the morning, I sent a 2-word email to my lawyer. File it. And I went to bed and slept better than I had in a year. The calls started the next morning, first cheerful and confused when she realized I was gone, then angry when her card got declined trying to pay for her and Ben's room service breakfast, then full panic when she got to the front door and a key didn't work. I answered that one. She was screaming, "Tom, what is going on? I'm locked out." "I know," I said. "This isn't funny. Let me in." "No." I told her I had heard what she said, that I heard her tell a room full of strangers that our marriage didn't count because I was boring, so I was making her life a little more exciting. She was free now. No boring husband, no boring house. She immediately said it was a joke. I had misunderstood. I was being crazy. "It doesn't matter," I said. "It's done. Your things are in 42 boxes in the garage. A moving company is coming tomorrow to take them to a storage unit. I paid 3 months in advance. The bank account is empty. The credit card is canceled. Divorce papers will be served Monday. We're finished." I could hear Ben in the background. He was telling her I was bluffing, telling her I was just being dramatic. Her knight in shining armor, from the passenger seat of a situation he had no part in and no standing to speak on. "You can't do this," she said. "I already did. Have a nice life." I hung up and blocked both their numbers. Of course, they didn't disappear quietly. People like them never face consequences without first trying to reframe themselves as the victims. My security cameras caught them trying the doors. Ben even shoulder-checked the front door once before apparently realizing it was solid hardwood and this wasn't a movie. When the moving truck came the next day, they parked across the street and watched the whole thing from his car. I went out to get my mail, then spent 20 minutes weeding my front garden, completely ignoring them. My total lack of reaction seemed to infuriate them more than any confrontation would have.
When the direct approach failed, they moved to narrative. Olivia is good at this. The story that spread through our social circle was that I had suffered some kind of breakdown at the wedding, imagined things, and violently kicked her out of her own home. Some people believed it. The messages came in. Her mother left a voicemail. Her friends sent texts. I was a monster. I was abusive. I was controlling and jealous. I saved everything. and I went looking for proof. A wedding in 2025 is one of the most documented events in existence. I didn't need the official videographer. I needed the person who had been filming everything for social media all night. That was Maya, the bride's younger cousin. I messaged her and said I was putting together a memory book for the newlyweds and would love her clips from the reception. She sent me a full folder within an hour. I went through every video, and then I found it. Dance floor footage, shaky and casual, but in the background, perfectly framed and completely audible, was the conversation at the bar, the woman pointing at the ring, Olivia's performed laugh, and then her voice, clear as anything. Not really, anyway. It doesn't count when he's boring. 10 seconds. That was all I needed. I didn't post it publicly. That wasn't the point. I sent it as a group text to a very specific list of people: the bride and groom, Olivia's parents, her sister, and Ben's long-term girlfriend, Emily, whose number I had from a dinner party months earlier. My message was simple. I know you've been hearing a lot of stories. I just want the truth to be clear. This is why my marriage is over. Then I put my phone on silent and went for a long walk. The fallout was swift and total. The bride and groom were furious with Olivia for turning their wedding into a backdrop for this kind of behavior. They cut her off completely and sent me a separate personal apology, which was genuinely classy of them. Her parents, who valued their public image above almost everything, watched the video of their daughter behaving that way and had nothing left to defend. They confronted her, she couldn't deny it, and they pulled every form of support they had been providing. The lawyer they had hired for her was immediately dismissed. She was told to get a job and figure it out herself. But Ben got the worst of it. Emily did not quietly end things. She posted the clip to her own social media with both their names attached and wrote a long, detailed post about years of lies and disrespect. It spread through every social circle we shared. Every smear story Olivia and Ben had been carefully constructing collapsed overnight, replaced by something they couldn't spin or explain away. Emily's father, a prominent local businessman, made some calls. Ben's career in sales, which depended entirely on reputation and relationships, fell apart fast. 6 months later, the divorce is final. My lawyer said it was one of the quickest he had ever processed. A video of your wife publicly renouncing your marriage tends to eliminate her negotiating position entirely. Olivia has no money. Her parents are barely speaking to her. Ben wants nothing to do with her now that the consequences arrived. The friends have scattered. She's waitressing to pay rent on a small apartment she shares with 3 roommates. The exciting life she believed she was entitled to doesn't exist anymore. I sold the house, bought a condo downtown with a good view and no history. It's quiet. It's mine. I sleep well. She called me boring. Maybe I am. But boring looks like this: a clean space, honest money, no chaos, no performance, no mornings waking up to someone who sees you as furniture. She woke up alone in that hotel room thinking it was the beginning of something. It was the end of everything she had, and I was already home.